Hello and welcome to episode 72 of the Football Retro Podcast. I'm your host Johnny, and today we've got Adasi, Akram, and special guest Mark. How you doing, guys? How you doing, Adasi?
Oh, doing great. As you can see, with what's happened over the weekend, and from what you see on the camera as well.
You're happy?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. Ak, how you doing, man?
Mate, doing very well. I mean, it's been a few weeks since we've done a podcast. I missed you, Johnny.
No, you didn't.
Sorry, you found me out. Darcy, bud.
Yeah.
You missed episode 69, man. We're really sad to.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed the one after that. It's been like over a month since I've been on the show.
It's been a minute, eh?
But so much happened since that time.
Of course, we don't have Fatty here.
We've upgraded. We've upgraded to Mark, the white version of Fatty.
There you go.
How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm very good. Happy to be back. I featured on a Zoom episode.
Which number? Do you remember the number?
Oh, I don't remember.
Come on, Adasi.
That number was about
Newcastle
United. Yeah, I remember that episode.
Take over. So we're back here, and today we're going to be reviewing a lot of things happened since last time we met. The Premier League finished, the Serie A finished. Some little team won the Champions League. So we're going to be touching on that. We're going to be refreshing. You know what? Let's get the show started right away now.
Welcome to the Football Retro Podcast.
The word welcome, I guess, is stretching it a little when you're an Australian in a place like this today.
Welcome back. Now, I thought let's start with the least important, like Akram says.
Shots fired.
So, like I said, every season finished. There's a lot of different champions, a lot of things happening around Europe, around the world, in the rest of football. Let's start with Serie A. AC Milan clinched the title in the last game. They needed to win. Inter gave them a good fight right to the end. 3-0. AC Milan the champions.
100%. First time in 11 years. First time Juventus haven't won in so long. They lost their Serie A title last year to Inter, so 2 years in a row for Juventus. Sucked into Juve fans. But I got to say, exciting finish to the season. And I mean, it might be considered the least important in your eyes, but Serie A did pretty well this year.
Out of the three that we're talking about today.
Very exciting.
I like Serie A.
And I mean, Roma did very well this year, winning the first ever Conference League.
So is that even important? Like, let's put some context into that. Like, where does Conference League rank between everything else that's been playing around Europe?
Well, it's obviously the lowest at the moment, but it's got no pedigree. So, but in saying that,
it was
absolutely. But in saying that, you saw the reaction of the players. To get to a European final is still a European final. So for them to enjoy that and for Mourinho to be the first manager to win it, I think it's good. I think it's good for the competition.
It's one of the competitions that was designed for like the lower tiered European leagues, like the Eastern European, with no disrespect to them. That was designed for. So I don't know if it's going to work that way, because you have a club like Roma that's quite strong. That's where Europa League, even Champions League levels. So, and they got into this comp and they won it. So we'll have to see in a few years how it's going to look and who wins it. And
Speaking of Conference League, I'm very happy with Serie A. Fiorentina's made the Conference League. So that's really going to be exciting for them back in Europe after a few years. Nice. So we'll see how that goes. But AC Milan, guys, like, what a performance this year. Losing Donnarumma and replacing with Mike Maignan, who's become the goalkeeper of the Serie A this year.
Like for like, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Until PSG take him.
Did you really think when they lost Donnarumma that they would be able to replace him so fast? Like, what a shrewd move that was from Paolo Maldini.
What's the X factor for this Milan? Why did they win the Serie A?
Okay, so the X factor, the decisive best attribute Milan have is their defense. And what's really been cool and interesting about it is that it was a defensive line that's been shuffled, that's been improvised. They lost who's the Danish defender, Simon Kjær. Simon Kjær. They lost him early on in the season.
Yeah, cruciate ligament, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so they had to replace him with a right back, Pierre Kalulu, a French right back, young, who's joined with Fikayo Tomori.
Sounds French.
Yeah,
Pierre Kalulu.
And so they had to pair him up with Fikayo Tomori, young English centre back that Chelsea, of course, got rid of. And they're the best defensive line in Serie A. Their attacker started. Zlatan has been injured in and out. It looks like he's going to be injured again for another 8 months or so. Oliver Giroud, you know him well, Johnny, doesn't score a lot of goals. So they really have to rely on their defense.
In the midfield?
Look, I mean, I love Sandro Tonali. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. He's He's got the defensive qualities of Gattuso kind of thing, but he can play a little, likes to direct the play a little as well. They play normally 4-2-3-1. So Tonali, Frank Kessie is very good. Ismail Benessa, very good players. Tonali's the real standout there. And their attack stuttering. However, their left winger, Rafael Leao, player of the season.
I was going to mention him.
Real Madrid,
things about him.
Real Madrid won him for 150.
150.
150.
He's nowhere near worth that. I don't
I was
know.
going to say, it's a bit of
I mean, his record against the top clubs, like obviously he's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the best players, but I think his record against some of the top clubs have been
A bit shaky. Look, his
Yeah.
stats don't shout out 150 million euros. Was it 12 goals and 10 assists?
Yeah, but top for both.
Pretty impressive. Double digits for both. But wow,
Let's see if we can
150
back it up.
million euros. Isn't that exactly like the complete reactionary move we would expect from Real Madrid after losing Mbappe to go for someone like that? I don't think it would be a smart move.
not for 150 anyway.
No.
Like if you get him for 60, 70, fair enough.
His release cost is for 150, and Milan would be silly to get rid of him right now.
Yeah. Let's see how he goes next season.
Well, they'll use that money to replace Kessier if he goes to Barcelona, but let's see if they can actually afford to fit him on their salary cap at the moment.
Barcelona. Yeah, I know.
Can they afford anything at the moment?
No,
But they afforded a trip here to Australia last week.
Did you go? Did you go to Cherry
Mate,
One?
even if they were playing in my backyard, I'd shut my blinds. Seriously, I would not go.
That's the call of the day.
I swear to
That's the
God,
call
not
of the
go.
day. You don't like seeing big clubs play, or
Big club, please.
you're saying Barcelona's not a big club right now?
Used to be.
Oh, come on.
No. Anyway, about Serie A,
Just
I was-
rubbing
I-
salt
I
in
was-
the wounds, I love it.
I was keeping up to date with Salernitana. I was happy they stayed up. Frank Ribery.
Mm.
Yeah,
playing for
yeah.
them, and they survived them a lot.
So who went down?
Genoa, Bologna.
Bologna went down.
No, sorry, definitely Genoa. And then I should know this with my last name.
Cagliari, was it?
I got it.
Venezia,
Check this.
Genoa,
Yes.
Cagliari.
Genoa, that's David Drulic's team. He was assistant coach there.
Mm.
There you go.
Shevchenko.
Venezia and them all good
Shevchenko
kids.
was coaching there. He got sacked halfway through the season.
And Romero was he's the keeper of Venezia, Argentinian keeper.
The former Man United.
Yeah.
So yeah, really interesting. Top four this season. Really, Lazio, Roma, 5th and 6th. I really can't wait to see what they do next year. Roma's going to be spun off from that Conference League win. Lazio has Sarri, and they've got a lot of talent there. So I really can't wait to see if they're going to enter that top four. I think it's about time those two clubs really get back into Champions League.
Absolutely.
Quick question, prediction. In the next 5 to 10 years, would Napoli win a Scudetto?
Honestly, I would love that because I absolutely love that club. But I think that their best chance has passed them, and I think they've missed that window of talent. And unfortunately, they don't have the funds to reload every season like some of the bigger clubs. Another big club from the Premier League, I think, have missed out their chance of Premier dominating, but we'll get there. Unfortunately, I don't see Napoli anytime soon.
What I do like about Serie A in the last few years is the last 3 years, 3 different winners.
Yeah. I think the work of Maldini as I'm not sure exactly what his title is. Like if you look at him on LinkedIn,
He's
I'm not
sporting
sure what it says. Yeah, that makes sense. But he's taken their wage bill from something like 1.3 million per week, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think he's cut it by 2/3. And the squad is obviously better than what it was 2 seasons ago. So
How do you think they'll go in the Champions League next year?
it depends how they recruit, really.
And they are seeded now. They're the champions of the league, so they are one of the top seeds in
Yeah.
the group stage.
True.
So that's very important.
It depends. I mean, they could lose half their squad. But like if Kessier goes, that's huge. I don't think Leao will go yet, but that'll be huge. Tomori's linked back to the Premier League already. Speaking of which, Everton almost had him. So that would have been a totally different career trajectory for him. So he's probably glad he didn't sign on that. And actually, I think it fell through. So he's pretty lucky there.
I'd be really shocked. Out of the 3 players mentioned, I really would put Tomori at least likely to go
Fair enough.
because he absolutely loves the club. He loves Maldini.
He speaks
And-
perfect Italian almost.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they took a chance on him when Chelsea cast him aside. I really think that I think he wants to stay and build there. Kessier leaving is huge, but they do have Tonali and Benacer there.
Yeah.
So I think they're in the market for Renato Sanchez from Lille.
That would be huge. Because he's been really good.
Dybala leaving Juventus, nothing confirmed yet.
Wait,
As to where he's going to go.
No, I mean he's pretty.
He was linked to
confirmed
Inter.
He's
Linked to Spurs.
Linked to Spurs, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's going to go to Inter, but a bit of a spanner in the works there because Lukaku's begging to get back to Inter, and Inter doesn't look like they can sign both. Money.
I'll take Lukaku any day.
Would you take Lukaku over Dybala though?
Yes. I just said
Really?
that.
No.
The Inter version of Lukaku, of course, yeah, but not.
But you feel as Inter, you feel like you can recover him.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is, wouldn't Dybala and Lautaro Martinez be a pretty interesting attack?
You know me, I've never really rated Dybala highly.
Yeah.
I've always said he's overrated. So if you give me between the two, I'll take Lukaku any day.
Fair enough. What about you, Mike?
In terms of what part of that story do you want me to attack? As
If
in,
you-
where should
which
he
one-
go?
which
Or
one would
do
you
As
we
long
go?
as you're attacking Johnny, it's I
Okay,
don't
yeah,
mind.
fair enough.
whichever.
Well, I didn't get to do it on the first episode that I was on.
Yeah,
he
that's
was,
true.
He decided to
That's
leave. He was
He
smart.
chickened out.
Yeah, he did.
So who would you take, Lukaku or Dybala if you're your manager and director at Inter?
Well, Lukaku isn't even liked anymore. The fans can't stand him. There was some pretty shocking words that were used on banners when he suggested that when he left, and then when he had a dummy spit and wanted to go back. I don't know. Do you drop Edin Dzeko as well? I don't know.
Oh well, Edin Dzeko hasn't performed very well this year. Man.
But apart from that, like
Pretty much.
Juventus, you're going from Juventus to Inter. That's not a. Don't you
Will he
think
be loved or loathed for that though?
what are the Juve fans like? You just left with a standing ovation, crying, banners, and you go into Inter, which is your biggest rival, pretty much. That's
I think there's becoming a bit of I don't know what the correct word is, maybe a bias, where a lot of Serie A players, when they've achieved success in Serie A, they really like staying there. There's not too many players who like to leave anymore. So I think Dybala wants to he assumes that the best place for him is somewhere in Serie A. In for a shout is Roma, trying to get his signature. That would be a massive signing though. And could you imagine him behind Tammy Abraham? That would be really interesting. I don't know if they have the money to sign him. I think he wants something like 6 or 7 million.
I mean, just for his girlfriend alone, it's worth it. Just putting it out there.
I've heard AC Milan would have considered but they seem the most reluctant. I think they've got some other signings they want to try to go for.
Roma, Lazio, Napoli would be good to see him there. Any last words on Serie A before we move on?
Not much. AC Monza will be playing in Serie A next year, so we get Silvio Berlusconi and Adriano Galliano back. We missed you guys
So much.
The Mafia
Like the
is
good old
back.
days.
the mafioso returns.
The Mafia's back.
Their story's quite good if you try and ignore that little black spot. Their rise has been, I think, a long time coming. So I think it's good to have them back. I read a little bit about it, and they're not just a racetrack, so it's great. So,
They're the Formula One track I see in the
Yeah.
games. You select it. Yeah.
exactly. So combining the two good things there. I love Formula One, so it's good to have that name back up in the top tier.
All right, so some of us woke up a couple of weekends ago now, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to watch Manchester City and Liverpool battle the Premier League title. Obviously, Manchester City to Aston Villa, to Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa, and Liverpool at home to Wolves. We assumed that Liverpool would be up and take the 3 points. They both started losing.
They did.
So Wolves got an early lead. Aston Villa got an early lead. And then to everyone's surprise, Coutinho scored to make it 2-0 for Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And we thought, no. Well,
Yeah.
I thought, no, please, I don't want to hear Liverpool's
Wow.
fans.
Wow.
And at this stage, I thought, no, if they win all 4 titles, I'm going to be buried for the next 6 months and no one's going to find me.
We just stopped doing the podcast
Well,
completely.
100%. When Coutinho scored that second goal, I thought, title over. There was 20 minutes to go. Liverpool looked like they were about to score. But luckily, the football gods, changed things to shut the Liverpool fans up. And De Bruyne stepped up. The Turkish
German, Turkish. Gundogan, 2 goals.
corrects me every time. Corrects me every time.
Gundogan, 2 goals, and Rodri, the second goal. He's a good player, by the way, Rodri. I like him.
Yeah.
Very good player.
And luckily for us neutral fans, Manchester City won the title.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent 10 years ago of the final day there when Aguero scored the winner against QPR. That it's one of those things that could have could Philip Coutinho scoring against Manchester City, doing it, for his former club, and Steven Gerrard coaching Aston Villa. I thought that was been a chance, but Man City's quality just pulled through in the end. And I remember Salah scoring the second goal to make it 2-1. He was celebrating, thinking that the title's in their hands. And then someone in the crowd would say, no, it's 3-2 Man City. It's Man City in here. And they're like, damn it. So then that kind of deflated.
Seriously,
them.
though, why was Fernandinho starting that game? I don't get it. I know you're at home. It's his last game. He's a 9-10 year servant of the club. But surely there's more important things than a nice goodbye. Surely you go 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go and bring you on for a testimony.
That's one thing,
Look,
but it's starting.
Darcy in the past has said that Guardiola seems to overthink these games.
Yeah,
It does. Yeah, they're shown in the Champions League. Can't get it right there, and this one he almost blew it, but he does. And he does say he loses sleep. He does say that.
Yeah,
He can't
would you say that with 20 minutes to go, Gerrard slipped at the end and his team?
I guess his team's not him literally, but his team did. But it was a good feeling as a neutral. I was keeping up to date with both games, back and forth. But
the funniest was at one point I changed and I put the Liverpool game on.
Yeah.
And the fans started celebrating. Someone, I don't know if they started a rumor or someone celebrated as Aston Villa scored the third goal. And the whole stadium erupts, like chanting and happy. And then the commentator says, there's a false goal being celebrated here. It's still 3-2 Manchester City.
It's so easy to, say something like that. And then the whole crowd just falls for it. But and I remember it was Arsenal playing Everton and Everton were down 4-5-1. And then they were celebrating in the away end because Liverpool were losing the title. Yeah, that was another funny moment.
I'll just say as well, it's good to see Pedro Neto back on the score sheet. I love that guy for Wolves. I think he's good. I think he's very, very good. So he was out for ages, but I like seeing him back. I've been waiting to say that for about 3 minutes. So it's kind of lost its touch, but I have to say it.
But so speaking of the Premier League, Tottenham getting the 4th Champions League spot, but Arsenal really blew that. Yeah, 3 games they had against Southampton.
With a few games to go, everyone thought Arsenal for sure.
They lost all those 3 games or 4 games.
Well, when you lose both fullbacks, and Nuno Tavares is pretty poor at left back, but when you lose both fullbacks, and Thomas Partey is huge.
Yeah.
Eddie Nketiah is getting 100. I don't know if it's Australian or if it's British pounds, but he's getting 100 grand a week now with a new 5-year contract. So, look, it's not looking promising. I think Tottenham are going to strengthen, but they only have probably 1 year before Conte loses his toys out the pram, so they have to do it now. So, we'll see. I think the next 2 months are going to be really, really interesting. And I think as well. I think as well. I know this is not the time to talk about the World Cup at the end of the year, but someone has a good tournament in the World Cup. Like the fact that January is just around the corner as well, I think is going to shake up a whole lot of things.
Fair point.
Yeah, I know that'll be really interesting to look into. Can I ask you though? End of the year. Arsenal, Darcy says blew it. But would you say Arsenal fans should be happy with the season they had?
Well, I think goals need to change throughout the year. And so obviously at the start of the year, I think that was ideal. When you finish 8th the year before and you drop out of Europe, it's horrible. It was. And to go, 21 years under Wenger, consecutive top 4. And a lot of those were top 2. It's difficult for us Arsenal fans, I guess. I'm not really an Arsenal fan, but I guess. But I think goals need to adjust. It's no different to Everton. Like their goals had to adjust to in the middle of the season. I know it's a completely different scenario, but obviously they're always hoping for 7th at absolute best, and they ended up where they were. So I think we should have shifted our focus and said the top 4 is the minimum, because we were there. We were right there. In fact, I think Chelsea were for the taking as well. The fact that Tottenham are only 1 point behind them, that was shocking towards the end of the season. After their entire defence is ready to go to Catalonia. So the fact that we didn't get it is completely our own fault and a huge point of reflection.
It's also going to be really hard recruiting players when you're not playing Champions League. And that one spot is massive because with a club like Arsenal, who needs to recruit well at this window, and bringing a star player compared to someone that doesn't want to play Champions League, it's going to be a massive difference.
It's interesting though for me, because I kind of see it a little differently. I think, like, considering you guys did come 8th and you missed out of Europe completely, and I don't know, like, you'll tell me, you'll know more than me about the transfer season you guys had last year. I don't think you guys had a very standout transfer season to be very excited about. So I was like, to come 5th after coming 8th, and then, like I said, not really recruiting over anyone of the losing Aubameyang. I think, overall it's a pretty successful season.
I think that it's probably as good as could have been achieved with the squad. The squad is extremely thin, ridiculously youthful, like the youngest average age, starting age.
Yeah. But that's still a positive too.
No, absolutely. That's the thing, but it's also a reason as to why it might have gone wrong.
Yeah.
You've got players who haven't been anywhere near major. I mean, Bukayo Saka maybe in a final, but not anywhere really near major silverware in the gist. So it's difficult. Look, we did not recruit at all and we made ourselves look fools going after Vlahovic. in January. Alexander Isak scored 4 goals in the league this year, so that option is off from Sociedad, I guess. Who the next striking option is, and that's definitely what they need. I don't know. So it's
Lewandowski.
yeah, I imagine. So look, it's I actually think that the opportunity to get into Europe and then attract European quality, but to get into Champions League and attract UCL quality players is gone. And it's going to take a miracle to be able to overcome Conte, because I think that's what the benchmark is. Chelsea might flip. I don't know. It depends how they recruit as well. But that I feel like Tottenham are pretty secure. So it's really a battle for that fourth. Look, I don't know. Did Newcastle take their momentum in? I don't know. But I think this was really the opportunity to get fourth again and then attract those players to maintain it. And I don't know if we're able to do it. I really don't.
I was going to say, you mentioned Bukayo Saka. I thought he had a pretty good season given the disappointment of the Euro 2020 final, missing the penalty. He still bounced back. He, didn't let that shake him, and had a pretty good season compared to the other 2 players that missed in that shootout. Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford had pretty disappointing campaigns at Manchester United.
I think the team factor has a lot to do with it as well.
That too as well.
The
But individually,
On the other end of the table, though, I'm one of those people that are happy to see both Everton and Leeds survive.
Yeah,
I know some people weren't, but I was happy for Burnley to go.
They've been floundering around there for ages.
Instead of Everton and Leeds.
I'm happy for Burnley because I don't think they should have got rid of Dyche. I almost found it disrespectful.
He did quite well with them, yeah.
Absolutely. And he's been doing it for 7 years on a shoestring of a budget. So to chuck him in the bin at that point in the season as well, when they were actually, I think they were looking like they could do it. And then, I don't know, it's not like they came with the back of a 5-0 loss.
Yeah,
it just happened, and I was very surprised.
Can I ask you, when you look at the bottom of the table, last time we had you on, Mark, we were talking about Newcastle, all things Newcastle in that episode. Newcastle were in the relegation zone, and we were talking about how they were going to climb out. How do you see their progress from that relegation battle to a mid-table club?
Well, they spent 100 million in January. Eddie Howe was the manager of the season, even though he only had 6-7 months. 5 months. So fantastic, massive kudos to him. But Bruno Guimaraes has been a godsend. Miguel Almiron's turned into, a 4 out of 10 rather than 2 out of 10 footballer, and it's helped him score a couple of goals. I think Chris Wood, everyone bags out Chris Wood. I think his involvement is actually decent.
That's a masterstroke, buying him from Burnley, getting them relegated and staying up.
Exactly. I mean, I don't mind Weghorst that they brought in, but still, I think that's been fantastic. They finished 3rd from January. Is that right? So from the end, in terms of the points they got from January to the end of the season.
Well, they were bottom of the table, and they finished 11th.
They didn't get any points in their first 7 games, I do believe.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I think the fact that not only did they survive relegation, but they did so well with the money now that Newcastle can provide and use. I think it sets them up really well for the next few years. And you never know, in the next 5 years, we could be talking about Newcastle winning the Premier League.
Wow. Speaking of Renato Sanchez, by the way, imagine him into that midfield 3. I know Joelinton's pretty much undroppable now, if not their player of the season. Guimaraes obviously is very good as well, but maybe in that 3rd spot, that would be such a sick signing. I know he didn't do it at Swansea, but that'd be really good. Do you think, by the way, that Newcastle need a marquee, like someone threw out there today, Neymar, and I was like, come on. Yeah,
look, I mean, the thing about it is and this is the problem, clubs in Italy have had, Fiorentina, was regardless of how much money your private company owns, because financial fair play, it does have to be in line with your revenue that you bring in. So Newcastle can't right now go nuts and start bringing in Neymar and Mbappe and, bringing the corpse of, old legends back. But they could foreseeably get a lot more leeway loaning out money from banks because of that capital that they've got behind them, so that they can go a bit further. Their transfer budget should be really impressive. Look, what did you say, 100 million in January? So, if they can do that again, I don't know what the financial fair play rules will dictate for them in this transfer window, but if they can do something even like that, 8th or 9th is not really out of the window of possibility anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think PSG has shown that there's no fair play anymore.
I mean, I suppose so, but the thing about PSG, man, is a whole nother level at 8. Isn't the guy that runs financial fair play
on the board of it's,
Or PSG, like
I love
it's a
corruption.
whole level. I do got to say, Johnny, like going back to the top of the table, you know me, you know my Premier League ambivalence.
Mhm.
Got to say, exhilarating run to the end of the season, and a real shout out to the two clubs.
Mhm.
I was looking at something someone sent me. I got to say, Liverpool and Man City since 2018, since 2017, they've had such a great rivalry and a great run. I think Man City has overall like come out the better in that overall rivalry there. But it's really, really exciting to see two clubs just come battle it. These stats that you have both played since 2018, 151 games, and point total. Man City have accrued 355 points. Liverpool 354.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane, man.
That
That's absolutely insane.
no room for error when it comes to title race.
I don't want to get into hyperbole and start bringing up Manchester United, Arsenal rivalry back in the day, but it's a very eerie of that. But at the same time, looking forward, do you see Liverpool being able to continue that the run?
Didn't you hear what Klopp said? To everyone next year, start booking your hotels for the final in Istanbul.
Oh, shit, no, I missed that.
They really after the final.
He's
actually
going
missed
to be seen as a good guy, but he's also known to say stupid things as well. He is. He is.
You really come in, just rubbing salt in the wound,
yes.
This is the problem when Real Madrid win, Like,
I'm not falling for
you
it.
know what?
Barcelona
Let's-
used to be a big club.
On that note, let's jump into the Champions League final. Let's talk about the big final that happened last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, Klopp said a few words after, which is that that's exactly what he said. He goes, "What's the next final? Istanbul. To Liverpool fans, start booking your hotels because this team will be back."
And
That's
try
what
not
I
to
said.
fall for fake tickets either.
fake buses.
And
Fake
fake
bus company.
Richard Allison.
That was cool. That's probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, to be honest. Like seriously, that's just amazing.
Good on the Everton fans for creating a fake bus company.
You're right there, Darcy? You're too
Um,
excited, man.
And all these Liverpool fans waiting for 6 hours for the bus to come, never showed up. They started researching, and it was a fake company.
Richard Allison.
Richard Allison.
So good.
Suck shit.
Jurgen Klopp, 4 trophies out of the 27 available in his 7 years at the club. 544 million British pounds spent in that time.
Wow.
Amazing.
Look,
That's
don't get me
crazy
wrong.
stuff,
Like
man. That's crazy.
Liverpool have done well.
They have.
They won 2 out of the 4 trophies,
Yeah,
the 2 least important ones. They played 3 finals and scored 0 goals. They didn't beat anyone in the top 4 in the Premier League. But in saying that, overall, great team. I thought they recruited well, and everyone that's come in, that didn't recruit too much, but whoever came in did well. Play-wise, they always look dangerous against every single team. They made it to the final of the Champions League, fought to the final in the Premier League. It's just from a Liverpool hater, it's good to see them not win the major 2 trophies to give people shit. And like I was, I'd rather walk alone. But yeah, not to take anything away from them in the good season they had. Looking back, you can look back at the trophies and who's won them. I think Manchester City are the better team overall. Real Madrid is questionable the way they won it. We can look into that in a minute. But talking about Liverpool and focusing on Liverpool, you're talking about the future. Mane is already going, so he's leaving. That's confirmed.
That's
Salah's on the edge.
Mhm.
So if they are going to succeed, it's going to be under different names.
And it's like we brought this up, in the episode where we were talking about cult clubs, because a number of those small mid-table clubs who were able to accrue a lot of talent and then go on to be very successful, Parma, Fiorentina, etc. The biggest problem that they had was that longevity, and it's because without the money, you can't reload every year to replace outgoing players, to tweak things. Liverpool, while are considered a rich club, they're not PSG, they're not Man City, they're not even Real Madrid, right? So if Mane goes, Salah goes, or doesn't, next year, that long-term plans could start to crumble. Well, while I'm not saying they're going to go down to like Everton level, they're not that dominant period.
Well, tell Klopp because he just had an extension to his contract.
Yeah, and he didn't adjust his wage at all. He didn't take a raise, and I think that was an idea of to rally the players in terms of valuing loyalty. Then the next week, Mane wants to go out. So I don't know if that worked, bro.
Pretty sure Salah about 2 hours ago came out and said that if he doesn't get a significant boost on what he's making now, he's off. and to another Premier League club as well.
Wow.
So he's pretty much said
That's quite a harsh thing to say, eh?
He's been in a bit of a dip of
Far
form.
out.
Been a bit of a dip of form beginning of the year, losing the African
AFCON.
Cup
And then not
final,
qualifying.
not qualifying, losing Champions League final. Also, his form individually hasn't been that good. So
What does it want? More camels or something? What happened to the love? Because look, I'm not saying he's a Liverpool youth product.
No.
But he bounced around a little bit. Basel, Chelsea didn't do well. Roma started performing, but at Liverpool, that's where he became the top class player that he is. And you thought there was some love between him and the club, him and the fans, for him to come out and say
that's quite hard.
unless you've heard it on CNN, which is fake news.
No. do you think that it's become a case of you choose Mane to keep or Salah to keep, and they've chosen Salah?
Yeah, but Mane looks like he's
Mane's
taking the
confirmed
choice
to go.
out of it. He's taking the choice out of it. He's decided himself. He's been proactive.
Sounds like
And I think with Salah, like the idea is, I think they were hoping to replace to keep him and whatever, and just build around Luis Diaz and Diego Jota, etc. But with what Salah's just come out and said, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of incentive for him to stay, because while he does deserve a raise, I'm not saying he doesn't. His form, besides the last few months, has been well. To come out and say, like, almost like a threat, a significant raise. Otherwise, not only am I leaving, I'm going to lead to a Premier League club. That's
I need to confirm as well. I'm not 100% sure if he said it or if it's been reported that, but I've read the post about 3 different times. That basically the most key like sets of words are another Premier League club if I don't get significant rise.
wow.
So again, I don't know if he said that in an interview.
Then again, he has said some silly things, wanting revenge against Real Madrid, and
How was it
he's got a score
like,
to settle, and just keep quiet.
You know what Carbonara said after?
There's a rumor of Lewandowski being linked to Liverpool as well. Klopp connection.
Yeah, I remember those days at Dortmund. That's on the cards as well. But
I would like
also
to see
Barcelona.
That's a totally different style of play, though,
A
isn't it?
lot of talking about Barcelona. I don't know.
But to be honest, I think that's something that Liverpool should look at, like a different style of a number 9, someone who's a little bit more traditional, who's more of a pure goal scorer rather than worrying about the press all the time. I think that they've become so single-minded in their approach to play. Because I mean, I know you want to break down the game in a little bit, but in the final, you could see that they probably could have benefited from a different style of player. Maybe someone who
Up front, you're talking about?
Yeah, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the attack was running really well, and their chance creation was great.
Let's get into it now. But
Okay,
Courtois made the difference as well.
Oh man, rightly made the match. Absolutely, Valverde. I was watching the game. You kind of knew Liverpool were going to start that way: high press, high energy, using a lot of their wing play.
You must have been shitting yourself.
You know what? Not really. Not really. Because I was quite calm because this is a squad that's got players that've been there and done that quite a few times now.
That's it. I got to say, I'm a Real Madrid supporter. That first 30 minutes, first minute, we'll play it off the park.
They were, but they kind of soaked up the energy of Liverpool. They let them play their game, and took it. He kept calm, and toward the second half, I thought Real Madrid kind of started to open up a bit and play a bit better.
It was a game of two halves. So look, my overall thought was it was an exciting match. It was a match in which I thought it was Liverpool's to lose. I thought it was a bit of a wrestle between Liverpool wanting it and Real Madrid, defending it for most of that match, even in the first half. Like it was about willpower and experience. Very exciting. Really enjoyed it. I think that this has probably been my favorite Champions League win Real Madrid's ever had.
I think it's the run towards the final, which is just every game of the knockout stage was just an unbelievable comeback, or remontada, as we call it.
The remontada, absolutely. The comeback, it's been amazing to watch as a fan. Every week it was just news.
Neutrals are talking about it as well.
Yeah, it's been so exciting.
Two things there. One, we mentioned a few episodes ago. Remember when Real Madrid drew Chelsea? The amazing stat that every time Real Madrid played against a previous champion, like a champion from the previous year in the knockout stages, not only did they beat them, but they went on to become champions.
And the record still continues.
That's about the fourth, fifth time that it happens. Fifth time.
Amazing.
Also, the other record, mate, is that Real Madrid's been, for the last 8 Champions League finals, have become unbeaten.
Back to 1981, is it not?
No, which was against Liverpool. They lost. Yeah,
81 they lost.
And then since then, they've 8 Champions League finals, 8 wins.
That's amazing. And Darcy, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that like every final that a Spanish team has played in the last 20 years, they've not lost?
21 years, 17 Spanish clubs against
non-Spanish team.
Non-Spanish clubs, 17 times the Spanish
Wow.
clubs.
Yeah.
On top.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
So-
that's
mad.
crazy
So
stat.
Spanish football's record in European competition is quite impressive, I must say.
The other thing I was about to say is, to me, Real Madrid are the champions, but they weren't the best team in the.
Yeah,
they're
100%.
two different things.
Two
They
different
are.
things, two different topics.
They
And let's
are.
get into that.
Two different things.
Which I
And-
think is okay to talk about, by the way.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hear a
let's
lot
get
of I hear a lot of people on the internet, which is something that I'm trying to switch off, but I can't help it because I'm addicted to my phone, right, and just reading stuff. But the amount of people that are like upset that Real Madrid won, therefore they're the best. No, they're not. Like,
They're the
objectively,
champions,
they're
yeah.
nowhere near the best. They don't create anywhere near as much chances as their opposition, and they're better for maybe a quarter of the game in the last 4 games that they've had, really. But in saying that, a game is 90 minutes, or a game is 120 minutes, and I think there's just that I don't know what it is. Is it people call it heritage? People call it spirit.
Mm.
People look at stats, say the opposition shot 10 to 20 shots a game. Real had only a few, but you watch the games. Real had chances, but they're not considered as shots on goal because either their chances have gone wide,
Yeah,
or
I
then
think
even
that's
second
a
half,
really good point.
Yeah.
where they had a chance with Casemiro. He was through on goal and he didn't know whether to shoot or pass the ball and decided. I don't know what he did. Pass
That's
it.
the Bios
Oh,
at the
that
end.
was
And then towards the end as well, the Ceballos threw on
chance,
goal
yeah.
and then 1 or 2 on 2
And
or
they
whatever it
just
was.
stuffed-
He
and they
stuffed
just
it up.
stuffed it
So
That's
They
a
had
great
the-
point, and a lot of journalists and a lot of opinionists are really not looking at that. People look at the what was it 20 shots from Liverpool or something?
Yeah, look, I'm not
And then
fussed about.
two, and I was like, that doesn't really tell the whole story, even of what Real Madrid did.
I think Real Madrid are set up to play like that. Like I think I think they expected and invited the pressure.
that's what,
This-
like I said,
this
they
year,
soaked up the
This
pressure.
season,
Absolutely.
yes. This
Yeah.
season, that's how they played. But what I'm saying is, forget the stats.
Yeah.
Style of play, for example, Man City is much better than Real Madrid. Or at least this
Yes.
season they were. This,
Yeah, yeah.
this Champions League. I'm not saying they were. I'm not saying they
We
didn't. I'm not
agree
saying
with you.
no, he's not agreeing with me. Look at
No,
him.
no, no.
Dude,
Don't-
he's a very fired up. He's not going to agree
He's
with you
not.
about anything.
I'm not saying that Real Madrid didn't deserve to go through a different topic in regards to style of play.
don't-
Man City are the better team.
Well, the thing we don't really have a star. I don't mention to you. We don't really have a star. It's just Real Madrid's
Just-
identity is
No,
based on
That's what it is, an identity. But your style
never
is,
giving up
your
till
style
the
is winning.
90th minute.
Your style is winning.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
And doing whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I said it in the Man City game as well. Any other game where it was the 90th minute and you just scored 2 goals or whatever, it was something ridiculous. Any other game I would have said game over.
Mm.
But because 1 it was Real Madrid and 2 was Man City, you thought there's a chance in this for the game to be turned, and it did.
And
And that's the mentality
What
that Real Madrid brings
Ancelotti-
into the Champions League.
And what Carlo Ancelotti did throughout the tournament was the Champions League campaign was he'd start off with Cruz, Casemiro, Modric in midfield, and then second half he'd bring on fresh young players, Camavinga and Rodrigo, and that would be the difference makers. And you got Valverde as well.
100%. I
Yeah.
think. Look,
Big,
I think.
Big game
I
players.
think the way you look at this, Johnny, is absolutely. I don't even think Real Madrid was the third. They were probably the 3rd best team in Europe this year. Maybe 4th if you want.
Same league record, exactly the same league record as Milan.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and that's not, it's a bit crazy when you think about it, right? But the thing is they have the pedigree, they have the experience. What you were referring to, Mark, is that some of the heritage, the pedigree there. You got to think how many of those players, and Adasi, you'll know, that have won more, at the same amount of Champions League trophies as Barcelona in total. 9 players. Benzema, Bale, Isco, Marcelo, Modric, Cruz, Casemiro.
yes, Casemiro, and
Yeah.
Nacho as well.
It was good seeing Marcelo lift the trophy, giving it to him as well.
Yeah,
Hello.
final gets it. He's leaving the club after 15 and a half years. I still remember when he signed for the club as an 18-year-old.
With no hair.
Yes, yeah, that's right. He signed same time as Gago and Higuain.
Good old Gago.
Yeah.
But with the game, Johnny, like you're right. All right, Liverpool are the better team.
I didn't say that. I
I'm
I am.
saying, look,
Yeah,
all right,
I
but
am.
they are the better team.
And
They are the more talented team. So they're built and their identity and their training and coaching, etc., all that. But would you say that they are the better managed team, especially in that final? Did Klopp get anything wrong on the day? Because to me, Ancelotti played a perfect game. Or coached
Look,
a
at the
perfect
same
game.
time, if one of Salah's or Mane's chances went in, we're talking about something different.
True,
Like, it was just
true.
that-
But throughout the game, what I would really love to see, that pressure that Liverpool were exerting on Real Madrid always had an escape valve. And that's where Carvajal and Valverde were so important on that right flank, because every time they were unmarked, they were open from the press.
Casemiro was big too.
Yeah, but to the beating the press,
Yeah.
right? Those 2 guys were always open on the side. And for Ancelotti to put Valverde on as a right winger and come in and more support that midfield, I think shows a lot
It's
of
pretty
tactical
godsend.
moves from
Yeah, yeah.
Ancelotti, right?
Yeah.
And Ancelotti is not known as a tactical coach. He's more of the man manager.
Benji ended up assisting the goal. Valverde.
Yeah,
Yeah,
threw that
absolutely.
run down the right and then threw a ball Benzema, taking with him Kanate, and then the ball just went across the
So
Vinicius.
what-
Was
You have to
Robertson
have to
pushing
comment
so?
on the goal.
I know everyone's blaming Trent, right, for the goal.
Yeah.
And fair enough. But Robertson presses up with, I can't even remember who he's next to, but he presses up.
Yeah.
Modric then splits two, including Robertson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Robertson does 0 to track back a jogging.
And,
Valverde.
and Vinicius is
A lot of Liverpool fans are arguing that, and a lot of the Liverpool fans I know, because some are hating on Andy Robertson, some are hating on Trent. I also think Van Dijk could have done better in that
Yeah.
play. I mean, he turned his back. You know,
the
just
screenshot of
the
that moment
screenshot.
is
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's not a great shot there. I think it would have been a bit.
I'm sorry, wasn't Van Dijk Ballon d'Or
Yeah,
greatest?
he's the greatest
centre
defender
back
of
of
all
all
time. Better
time?
than
Not anymore.
Maldini as well.
not anymore. But one player,
Not anymore.
one player I thought had a good game for Liverpool was Ibrahima Kanate at the back.
Very
Very
good.
strong,
Yeah,
he's better than Matip.
solid at the back.
Is he better than Matip?
I would say.
I've heard people say should be Matip and Kanate at the back, not Van Dijk. That's what I've heard. That's what I've read on the internet. So I don't know.
I love it. Darcy when Real
I don't
Madrid
know.
win, man. This is the best.
No, but Kanate has a good game. I
Mm.
think he's a good player. One for that.
But I
Luis
think
Diaz
he
was an
did
outlier.
really well, especially because Vinicius is, physically slighter than Konate. Konate
Yeah.
did well not to foul him too
Yeah.
often and get into car trouble and all that. So I
Yeah.
think you did really well with that.
Yeah.
I thought Thiago played pretty well, and he had a great season. Like I didn't think I thought he was going to struggle in the Premier League. You know, in terms of the pace,
stepped
the
up.
pressure. Yeah, he really
There
stepped
was a
up.
question mark about him playing the final because it was at an injury cloud.
That's right, and Fabinho, right?
Yeah.
Both
They
of them
both
there.
played.
It's worth talking about. So I put my alarm on. The alarm went off, and I thought, you know what? Fuck it. It's Sunday morning. I'm gonna sleep a little bit extra. So I gave myself another half an hour. I woke up, waited to watch the last 15 minutes of the first half, and it's the first minute of the game. Like, what the fuck happened here? So I went online, started checking. Trouble before the game.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, it's a game of it's their fault. No, it's their fault because you've got Liverpool fans saying, there was the French authorities that treated them badly, and and then you got the French authorities saying, Liverpool fans, they come in with no tickets and coming in trying to get in with fake tickets, and it was just a blame game here. So, but overall, UEFA have a lot to answer for. The French authorities have a lot to answer for, but then again, a lot of people question marks now again over the English fans. They've got a bad reputation. They travel big in numbers. They'll travel without tickets, and they'll try to get in. They'll try their luck.
Look,
And
I think there's a bit of both, wasn't there?
it was.
Let's be honest.
I'm not going to
we're
blame.
never-
I'm not going to blame one side. I'm going to say both.
Let's be honest. We're never going to know the truth. We're never going to know how many tickets were sold, how many tickets were counterfeit. We're never going to know who pushed the security guard first, or did the security guard push someone first. We're never going to know. We're never going to. So the French. Someone high up in the French government, not football related explicitly, has come out and apologised as well today. In that since the afternoon, I did see that. I don't know who it is, but there is an official apology out. But yeah, I mean, if there's counterfeit tickets, but again, I don't even know if that's true. Like I
But
don't.
even if it was, even if there
confirmed.
was 200, 300 fans trying to jump the fence, I don't think they would have delayed the game half an hour. What I think caused the big problems was just all these thousands and thousands of fans being escorted into such a small space and being pepper sprayed, being treated like when they were complaining.
And they shut gates, and they had to go through one gate.
Yeah.
That's what I've been reading.
Mm.
But
And
one
of all
thing,
clubs for it to
one
happen.
thing you got to
I
consider
know.
as well, UEFA in every final they allocate 20% of tickets to each club, and then 30 or so percent gets allocated to like sponsors, and that's bloody ridiculous.
Mm.
Well, there's so much for being for the fans. Seriously, 20% for each fan,
It's never been
team.
for the fans. It does been for
and
the
then
money.
the 35%, whatever it is for the sponsors and corporates and that. Come on.
Look, I mean, I think the
That's-
only thought I have to say about it is you're right, Adasi. There's probably some blame on both sides. As you could imagine, when fans get into a group, into a mob, they're excited about the game. Now you're being told your tickets might not be, valid. There's that anger. That's something that I can understand and expect. I thought the French police's reaction was really heavy-handed, and I thought that escalated the situation more, because that's going to do nothing but fuel the anger of a group, and then that group turns into a mob, and then that's how you have massive, issues like that, right? It was uncomfortable watching the opening ceremony as these
please.
Champions League games are starting to have
Ridiculous.
with these the song,
Ridiculous.
the music and
They're
dance.
trying to
And
turn it into a Super Bowl. Please.
it looks like an Olympic Games opening
Seriously,
I wish
they need to
ceremony.
just
that.
stop. They just
Imagine Eminem and Snoop Dogg before the Champions League. I would have loved
the
that.
fans don't get.
I
No,
don't-
seriously, during that concert, the fans were singing their own team anthems.
I don't mind. Look, I don't mind it
Okay.
that much, but it is an awkward scene of this tranquil dancing kind of moment, knowing that there's massive protests and issues happening outside the stadium walls.
And plus, as well, the Stade de France is in a part of in Paris, a very rough and dodgy part of Paris, and the fans and that were getting robbed outside the stadium.
Fucking hell.
So here you go.
I don't think
It's a
France will be
complete
hosting
mess.
anything anytime soon.
Well,
But the thing is, Real Madrid fans went in fine.
yeah,
That
which
was
is very funny.
It was
It's
all
boring.
boring.
Watch La Liga, and
Please.
it's like I'm watching a theatre show.
Come on, it's always
Phantom of the Opera.
seriously, honestly, people were worried that there was going to be shades of the 1989 Hillsborough disaster or 1985 Heysel against Juventus.
Yeah.
So there's something. I don't know. It's involved. Not all the British fans are like that, but it's
A lot
happened to them
a lot of former Premier League footballers and former Liverpool players, Jamie Carragher, etc., we did want to express a lot of hurt that they felt because people like Adasi just compared it to the Hillsborough and Heysel, and automatically Liverpool fans get the stigma and get the blame, when this might have been more of an issue with the with UEFA and the authorities. But people like Adasi can't be silenced. We got to hear that Liverpool criticism.
Before we go,
Oh, we're going already, Johnny.
Yeah,
Go on.
it's been
Come
fun.
on.
Well, on that final, how good was it to see those legends in the crowd? So many
Raul,
players.
Ronaldo.
Zidane,
Ozil was
Sedo,
there Ozil was there.
Cannavaro, yeah.
R9, Morientes.
And the biggest one of them
Figo.
all, he carried the trophy with Raul. Ian Rush. He's just the biggest player there. Like, let's be honest. Even though Zidane was in the crowd, Zidane was at the F1 the next day, so he's gone to went to 3 different sporting events.
Ozil was sitting with the Real Madrid fans in the stadium. So, yeah.
Would you call Ozil a legend?
Yeah, a lot of fans. He has good affection
Is he
with the
still
crowd.
playing?
For Fenerbahce, yeah.
But
He's
seems to look
pretty
like.
hated there. He got dropped for a couple of weeks.
He put a statement out saying, "No, I'm committed to the club," and that's. But yeah,
Committed.
he's always been a Madridista. I could talk about.
I'm
that
committed.
another-
I'm committed to my bank account. Is that what he said?
I could talk about his departure, how when he left, but that's for another episode. But anyway.
So tomorrow morning, time of the recording. Tomorrow morning, the Finalissima, Argentina versus Italy. The winner of the Euro, the winner of the Copa America. Last time this game was played, funnily enough, was Argentina against Denmark in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Argentina winning.
Yeah, and then from there they did the Confederations Cup. Yeah.
Predictions for tomorrow morning. So by the time this episode comes out, the game would have already happened. So it's interesting to see. Darcy, predictions?
I think Italy
Scoreline
3-1.
3-1. Wow, I wasn't going to be that. 2-1. Italy.
I reckon 1-0 Italy.
Argentina have a 40-game unbeaten streak.
I think it's 30, but I think
Something.
we've got the longest current unbeaten.
Yeah.
After
Well, we would
after Italy lost to North Macedonia.
Yeah. What annoys me is that Italy will win this game. I don't know what the scoreline will be. I'd say probably 2-1. And it'll be annoying because we've got nothing to do with the World Cup coming up.
Well, I'll tell
And
you
when I say
what,
we, it's
one
me.
of the big Italian people at my work, Gianni Alfonsi, if you're watching, I said it's a win-win situation for me because if Argentina beat Italy, I can tease him. And if Italy beat Argentina, I remind him that they're in the World Cup. So
Yeah.
I think the fact that they didn't make it to the World Cup is the reason why they'll win tomorrow.
That's
Wembley.
motivation.
it's a Wembley. It's a big part of the reason why I think
The extra motivation.
they have
they
to.
wanna-
I think they'll be more smashed if they don't win this
Yeah.
this game. Whereas Argentina is like that; they'll be supported no matter what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't really want to win a trophy in the new kit. Take it back to the other one.
It's pretty ugly,
I
it's
don't
pretty
like
ugly
it.
isn't it?
I don't like it. I don't hate it. I just don't think it's crash hot. You know what I mean?
The one with the
Look.
squares on it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about seeing it in the major tournaments anyway, so it's all good.
We have a new design for the next tournament.
Yeah, we have a bad one while there's nothing to worry about. So in 2 years for the Euros, we'll have a good one. Promise.
But one thing as well, it's now 20 years since the 2002 World Cup kicked off. So it's crazy. Two full decades now since that tournament kicked
Wow.
off. And, we
I
talked
was
about
one.
we had a whole episode about that show,
Yeah,
about that tournament. So it's just crazy how
you're one.
That was mine.
wow,
Jesus.
that makes us feel old now.
Yeah,
Makes me feel young.
You're 15.
No way.
Any last words before we go, Mark? It's been great having you.
Thank you. Appreciate always being here.
You'll definitely be back,
I hope so.
boys.
Yeah, good to be back. Been a while.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one, as you know, for obvious reasons. Like, it was amazing to see Real Madrid win. Got to say, you know, like I said, best ever Champions League win. I think maybe since the Champions League's inception in 1990s. Like, it was an amazing season. But you know, for football in general, wasn't it?
It was. It was. Big shout out to the Liverpool fans that are watching this.
Probably still celebrating their cup wins.
Smiley, Muscat, everyone out there. We still love you. Have a good night. See you guys.
Ciao.